What's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's What's on Kickstarter. Today we're going to be checking out some of the great, good, and not so good decks recently released on the platform, as well as some really fun gadgets and other toys that you can find on the Kickstarter platform. Steve, I gotta say, man, it finally feels like things are starting to slow down for the holidays here. Dude, I think we're going to be hard-pressed to save any money on it, because there are still some great decks that dropped, but I think this week we're looking at only 5, which makes life a little bit easier. Next week, I'm expecting a lot less to drop, because honestly, the week before Christmas, you're hard-pressed to get people buying stuff.
Yeah, no, agreed. I'm surprised there's anything up there, but...
They really are, and I gotta say, this month, they've actually been dropping more decks than we've seen in the past, which is nuts.
Yeah, but if you look at the campaigns, I think they definitely are struggling as to what they would be if it maybe was like a month ago.
I think that's always the tough part with December too, is even if you can fund, could you have funded as well as you could have 3 months before, you know? That's always the tough part, and that's why we always like to let creators know it's okay to take a month off in December and not worry about pushing out that new deck, especially if funding is a tough part for it in past. December's going to be that much harder. But we ready to check these out, man? And coming in for this week's first great campaign, we have the Zeus playing cards from Chamber of Wonder. This is the second deck from Chamber of Wonder, and I gotta say, I'm really impressed with the styling and how well they're putting out these campaigns. They jump right into it with an amazing story. You check out this nice little imagery of the deck, and then you get right into a feature section, which really gives you all of the information you need about the decks themselves. I honestly love seeing this kind of styling to it, where you have that little bit of a story, the image, and then highlights, because at the end of the day, if you want to stop right here, you have all the information you need to determine whether or not you want to back this campaign realistically. You've seen what it looks like in its very high-level format. You've seen who's printing it. You've seen what's there, and we can see right here, printed by Taiwan Playing Card Company, which I love myself a good TWPCC deck. It just...
I mean, let's be honest, this is definitely laid out like Riffle Shuffle. You know, obviously Chamber of Wonder has worked with Riffle Shuffle, and, you know, this is definitely
no doubt about it. You know what? They took a really good lesson there. They realized that, hey, Riffle Shuffle knows what they're doing. We've worked with them. We've seen the success. Why mess with that formula for success? I think the nice thing about it, though, too, is they really took that approach and they made it their own as well. It wasn't just a copy-paste job. They put a lot of great imagery in there. They really laid it out in a fun and kind of flowing way, so you've got good, healthy mix of text and images. But at the same time, too, you can see there's some information throughout about the details and all this interesting stuff. It's not just like, hey, here's my pictures. It's number of cards. We're also given much attention to matching up the intricate details of the court cards. So there's that tie back to earlier parts. You say, oh, I didn't see the courts. Let me go take a look. What's the same between those? You know, they really get you invested in the campaign, which is one thing that Riffle Shuffle is always great at. So I'm always glad to see new creators using that similar styling.
Yeah, we do actually. You know what? Another thing we see a lot nowadays is those kind of divided pips. You have a design on one side and solid on the other.
Absolutely. So and this is an interesting take on a Joker here, too, because you kind of have like a diptych Joker, but it still retains the borders, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
And then this, again, is also where you can really see that kind of like blending from Riffle Shuffle coming in there, that idea of limited gilded decks released later. As much as some people may not always like this approach, it is a time-tested approach where you get people who have a higher tier access to a deck that others can't necessarily get, and it builds that kind of hype vibe around it as well. It works out really well if you're looking for ways to kind of drive more momentum to higher tiers, but at the same time, we've always seen success as well with people who open up their gilded decks to all the tiers, but at the same time, you then need to be willing to say, okay, I have 150 people. If someone doesn't get a gilded deck and they have a tier for a brick, are they going to drop it because they wanted the gilded deck? Things along those lines. So there is a little bit of give and take in that as well.
Yeah, it looks like these guys didn't do that, you know, tier-based.
Which is nice. I like the fact that, again, yeah, it's that time-released aspect more so from the Riffle Shuffle than the tier-based, but nicely put together. We can see the fulfillment up here as well. Gambler's Warehouse is going to be fulfilling, which works out perfect. I would like to see that up in the features just so that it's a little easier to see it all condensed in one spot, but I still think it looks great there. And I think the other big thing here, they touch on risks and challenges. And for me, that was actually a big thing we're going to see throughout this week. A lot of lacking risks and challenges. And guess what? Right around the holidays, this is even more risky than any other time of year. The shipping is in flux. Printing can be delayed. Holidays make things tough. So touching on the fact that there are risks and challenges makes this really a great campaign.
Yeah, no, I love it. How much?
We are looking at $19 shipped, so coming in under that $20 price point as well, which I always love to see. So really nicely done there. Really excited to see how well this campaign does. Yeah, good luck. The one thing I will say on this one too, actually, the goal for 2 decks does seem to be a little bit low. That would be the only takeaway for me on that one is, you know, being true to the goal probably doesn't hurt. If you know you're going to fund over, yeah, it's okay to put a lower goal to get there quicker. But sometimes if you're not sure, it's better to be as truthful with the goal as possible. People understand if you need a $10,000 goal, that's what you get. If you need $7,500, that's what you get. That's fine. Something to consider there, but otherwise, yeah, good luck. And coming in for this week's first good campaign, we have the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles playing cards from John Michael Hinton. This is actually a really well done campaign as well, and I would say is actually on the cusp of being great. Yeah, it really is. It really is there. They did a nice job putting this together. As much as it's a good campaign, one or two few small tweaks would really put this over the edge. So first and foremost, we can see here, a goal is another big one too, 5,500, and we are looking at a print run, I believe, of 1,500 decks. So even if you do a standard tuck, you're going to be very close to that 5,500 already, but we can see embossing on this, which means that tuck is going to cost extra. It isn't a standard tuck from USPCC. So your price point per deck is probably over what you would be using a standard. That 5,500 gets to be a little bit tight there. Factoring in shipping 1,500 decks, custom tucks with embossing and foil on it, you're probably looking closer to the 8,000-9,000 mark, especially with increased shipping right now. So being true to that goal is a really big one on this. The other thing too, we can see printed by USPCC, fulfilled by Gambler's Warehouse. Really nicely concise information there in the subtitle, though again, I think it makes a little more sense now to pull that down into the beginning of it. Easily, you could put that into the feature section here. I dig the back design on it. I think they've really put together a nice Magician's deck here as well. I agree that, you know, it is a fun deck. A little bit more text between some of the images to prevent some of the inadvertent kind of drive to scroll aimlessly. You see there is a lot of text around here in the Black Gilded and the add-on section that could be brought up to the top a little bit more. The other big thing too with this one is with add-ons. If you're only adding on decks, that's fine. Throw another image there. But imagery with add-ons is always going to help drive sales of those add-ons better than just the textual side of it, because people are very likely to just scroll over this if they don't see prices and images. So even if your add-on is just more versions of the same deck, throw another picture in there, do a little chart that shows the, you know, the add-on breakdown price, maybe talk a little bit how they make it a break on shipping with more decks, things along those lines. Make it as enticing as possible. Really nicely done.
Yeah. It just definitely brings back memories of that movie.
It really does, which I think is an interesting kind of vibe to it. It's a fun, dude, it's a really fun looking deck. Yeah, I'm impressed with this. And price point wise, you're looking at 19 shipped. Again, that seems to be the level for today, which I think is great for a custom back design, relatively standard courts, and then a really fun embossed tuck. It's a nice looking deck for 19 bucks. I think this would be a fun poker night deck as well. Okay. Good luck.
Sure. Good luck.
And before we jump into this week's first Needs Help campaign, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. So coming in for this week's first Needs Help campaign, we have the Simple Limited Edition Gold playing cards. So this is an interesting campaign here because this is the second campaign from Rambo and Morris. Their first campaign was the Simple deck. It funded nicely. I think they had a white and a black matte version, both of which, if you were into minimalist playing cards, looked really nice. The one thing about that campaign is it really was missing a lot of important details that I feel like they carried over those same mistakes into this campaign. So we can see from the jump, you have the story here. You have cards are made in traditional poker sizes, 2.5 by 3.5 with a German black core to ensure the highest quality. But who's going to be printing these and who's going to be fulfilling? So far, we don't have that information. Even if you don't want to say your printer, and there's really no reason you shouldn't, it's always important to put that information out there, because putting that out there gives you brand recognition, or it helps get a new printer visibility where people can then say, hey, I liked how these feel. I want to make my cards look like those as well. If anything, that gives a positive reinforcement around your deck. So,
yeah. It would be nice to see images a little closer up, and those ones that are far away and the fans are kind of
again, very minimalist, so obviously there's not a lot to it, but it still never hurts to show as much of the artwork as possible. I do like the fact that they're also showing their classic white and matte black decks on the page as add-ons as well. The funny thing about it, the matte black still has a shimmer to it. It almost looks more like an eggshell or a semi-gloss to me than a matte. A matte cardstock would actually be really interesting to see, but I think that finish that goes over kind of destroys the matte aspect.
Yeah,
the back design is very similar as well. And then, as we mentioned with, the campaigns earlier in this episode, stretch goals are very similar to the add-ons as well. In order to drive as much interest in those, you want to have images. What are the free stickers going to look like? What are the numbered certificates going to look like? What are those half and full brick boxes going to look like? It's always important to show that stuff off, because if people can't visualize it themselves, they're not necessarily going to be excited by the idea of, ooh, numbered certificates. Well, what makes those cool? What do I like about it? What would I rather see with it? You create this feedback loop where you can actually drill down on your stretch goals into something that people actually want, and then have that drive the momentum to get you to that stretch goal. So the other thing I'll say with this one too, because we don't know the printer, the goal does seem very low on this, especially because it's going to be 1,000 decks. So $1 a deck shipped. I think you'd be hard pressed to beat that. That goal is going to be very tight there. I would say instead, if you're going to print a low quantity of this, say, okay, we have $1,000 goal. We're going to print as many as people buy, which in this case, 28 backers. If you only have to print 30 decks, $1,000 should get you there. But at the end of the day, printing 1,000 decks for $1 each and then shipping them is going to put you in the hole probably $6,000. So,
dude, $1,000 for 1,000 decks. They probably.
I mean, it could be. We've seen some, interesting printers that can come out with decks at a really low price point, but they're hard to find and the quality is not always the best. So agreed. That's a tough fulfill there for 1,000 decks at $1,000. That to me makes me a little nervous about this campaign and really makes you wonder, where is that $1,000 going to go? Building this campaign out with all of the information necessary would really drive this a long way to make sure that people feel comfortable backing this campaign. And then price point wise, we're looking at $25, $30 a deck. So you're telling me you can print them $1 a deck, but then selling them for $30. So again, this is a tough campaign for me. I'm really not a huge fan of the approach here, because I think there's just a lot of transparency that's missing from this. The price point doesn't really make sense in relation to the goal. The quantity doesn't make sense in relation to the goal. There's just a lot that I think this is lacking, which, a little more detail on this could make this a good campaign. Good luck.
Good luck.
And coming in for another great campaign this week, we have the Flower Holographic Concepts deck of luxury playing cards from Todd Weatherhead. So Todd actually did a great job with the predecessor to this deck, and this one's coming out with some really, really nice design elements added to it, some really nice holo throughout as well. We can see there's a great story here, gets right into a nice feature section, and really puts together a beautiful campaign for a beautiful looking deck, man. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, for sure.
Good luck, Todd. Coming in for another good campaign this week, we have the Rainbow Prides Edition 1 playing cards and enamel pins printed by USPCC. This is actually a relaunch of a campaign we've seen in the past. Really excited to see this one coming back to the table. This is a good campaign. It has a lot of the information it needs, but some of the big ones that stand out here are there isn't much in the way of text on it. You've got the printer, you've got the fulfillment, you've got a ton of great images, but tell your story. Drive that throughout the deck. I think this deck especially lends itself to telling a great story. And without that, the amount of text here probably equates to about 3 sentences for a really in-depth, meaningful deck. I think from that point of view, a story would drive this to easily a great campaign. Good luck.
Yeah, for sure.
And for another Needs Help campaign this week, we have the Lucha Warriors playing cards from Feral. So again, this is the 4th attempt at launching on this one. You know, we've run through it a couple times. We've given a lot of feedback on how we think this could be a great campaign. And it seems that the campaigns keep dwindling down, but the details just aren't coming through. Who's going to be printing? Who's going to be fulfilling? What's the story behind this deck? There's so much potential with this one. Steve and I always love the fact that there's action figures that are available with this. It's the coolest little add-on to a playing card campaign. But really, I think the structure of this campaign just needs to be thought through. Bring this artwork to a reputable printer, mention who that printer is, and really run with this deck because there is potential there. It's just not hitting it the way it is right now. Good luck.
Yeah,
so Steve,
good luck.
I gotta say, man, short week, but really a pretty widespread. I mean, I think we had a pretty even mix between great, good, and needs help. What are you thinking you're back in this week?
Yeah. I'm only going to touch Zeus.
All right, fair enough. I have to say, I really like the Zeus campaign as well. I think they did a great job with it. I think I'd also be jumping on the holographic flower, man. That deck looks amazing.
Yeah, that's definitely a cool deck for sure. I could see myself hopping on that one. The white
see,
version,
I probably
more so
like
than the
them
black.
both, but I just love how the holographic is very intricate on it. It's not overly done. It's not, you know, there's a lot of nice fine line work, which I think pops really nicely with it. Yeah, I mean, dude, there were some great decks out there this week. I really think, you know, there's a lot of potential in the decks that are good and needs help. But I think, actually, you know what? I would jump on planes, trains, and automobiles, too, because I love that back design. Very fun back design. Kind of has a James Bond-esque feel to it.
Yeah, no, definitely. It kind of gives me the art of play vibes, which is a compliment for sure. Yeah, no, I mean, you know, definitely good decks this week. I think, you know, style-wise, I think the Zeus one is what I'm going to stick with. You know, Flower's great, planes, trains, and automobiles is great, too.
Nice, man. Very nice. Well, for everyone out there, as always, we'd love to hear what you're going to be backing this week as well. So make sure to drop a comment down below and let us know what caught your eye out of these new decks. And we're going to take a quick look here at a fun little playing card adjacent campaign this week, which actually falls into a category of something I always love to see. 3D printed items. So we actually see someone releasing here 3D printable playing card care kit by Familia de la Machina. So, family of the machine, I'm guessing there. But I think the really cool thing about this is you're actually backing STL files, which allows you to download and print your own card press, card case, and card clip from, you know, depending on what kind of 3D printer you have, either resin or PVC plastic, which I think is really cool. Fun little campaign put together here. The one thing that actually stood out to me on this one, though, that cursive is not necessarily... It's not necessarily hard to read, but it's harder to read than it should be. I mean, I'm looking at it here, and I could read it, but I actually have to really concentrate, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But yeah, I like the idea behind it. At the end of the day, really loving to see 3D printing coming into the playing card world, though.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
so
cool.
Card press is for when you get cards that are warped, you can put them in the press and it'll over time kind of help them get back. Or if you store your cards in a press, it helps prevent warping. It's something that a lot of places in, like, a lot of people who use cards in like high humidity environments will use. Whether they work or not, that I'm not sure. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because usually it's controlled by the humidity, right? So you got to take that humidity out of the deck, not just press it. But it's interesting if they work. If it works, let us know.
So the cool thing is, too, card clip STL file, you're looking at $5. The case is $9, and the press is $10. So if you're taking a look at it, you get all of that for $25 for the full STL file. And the cool thing is, once the campaign ends, I'd assume that you'd get the digital files to your email pretty quickly there, which is really fun. Yeah, you can edit it yourself. You can stuff too, right? Place the logos if you really wanted, make it your own. The cool thing, too, because you're 3D printing it, the colors that they show here are just their examples. You can make them any colors you wanted as well. Yeah, dude, really dig it. Good luck.
Good luck.
So, man, I gotta say, while this was a short week for cards, I think there was some good stuff out there, man, in the playing card world. I'm always excited to see it. I love seeing the playing card adjacent ones, too. You know, every once in a while we see a calendar or card cases or things along those lines or magic. I always love seeing that stuff. I hope in 2022 we see more creators adjacent to playing cards coming to Kickstarter, whether it be, you know, clothing, card accessories, poker chips, all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, no, I'd like to see more too. It's always fun to
Absolutely,
go
man.
over them and check
Ready
them
to
out.
jump into this week's fun campaigns? All right, man.
Give us
Coming in
what
for
your,
my first
one
fun
is.
campaign this week, we have the Constellation Dice Voyager 2 Edition. So I gotta say, it's been a while since we had dice on. Every time I see fun dice campaigns, I always get excited by this. And I gotta say, man, these dice, they're awesome. They glow in the dark, and they're like semi-translucent. These things are gorgeous. I really can't get enough of the coloring on them. If you take a look at them, the translucent, or the glow in the dark aspect has that like old school like stick-on stars that you put on your ceiling, where it's that like yellowish. Dude, I used to love those things, but they have that fun like yellowish tint to them. So the dice are very visible when they're not lit up, but that glow in the dark blue is just gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, I always play games in the dark, but
and they also have some
cool.
non-glow in the dark options though for someone like you who may not like playing games in the dark. They have.
No, dude, I would still buy
dope.
the glow in the dark ones just because they're cool. But I'm never going to use them.
So look at that. They actually have glow in the dark versions here of blue and black, but they also have a black and gold version, which looks really nice, and a silver and blue, a blue with silver ink version, which dude, they're hitting on killer price points there, killer color points there, I think. The nice thing is too, this is actually following up on the success of a previous campaign where they had the Constellation set, and this is kind of like the V2. They've tweaked it based on what they've seen in the original campaign and the feedback, and they're bringing this V2 with more colorways, with enhancements to it. That's what I really love to see. You know, one of the things we don't always get in the playing card community is slight adjustments. There's kind of two ends to the spectrum. You either have a recolor or you have same brand name but a complete change at the end of the day. There are some decks out there that have done a good job of making slight evolutions over time, but it's fun to see how that plays into the world outside of playing cards as well.
Yeah, for sure. You know what would be really cool on this? It's like a yellow version.
I guess it depends on the yellow in my book. My mind immediately jumps to like primary yellow, which I think would be like so harsh.
Yeah, I'm talking like glow in the dark.
Oh, like a neon,
yellow.
yeah, like a
that
neon yellow.
Yeah, I think that would look cool. Glow in the dark, which maybe when the light goes out, that the dice itself lights up and the numbers don't. So it would be kind of
really
inversed.
interesting.
Might be kind of cool.
Here. The white on Starfield is $34. Silver on blue is $36. See, when the glowing on blue comes in at $40, which isn't too bad for 7 dice compared to what we've seen in some sets where they're like $10 a die. So $40 is not too bad at all, man. And this is fun looking. It's funny though too, because I bet you the one thing that really would have helped drive this a lot more, and we see a lot outside of the playing card world, is a video here instead of a static image. Think about doing some sort of like really cool like Constellation based video, dude. Could have been awesome.
Yeah, like rolling them.
But good luck. Sure. 854 backers, $50,000 raised. Absolutely killing on this. Excited to see how this plays out. And for another fun campaign this week, we have the 4 Survive Through 4 Apocalypse Scenarios. I actually really like the idea of this because it's kind of like a game, but it actually also seems more like a survival kit for these weird scenarios. It gives you all of this insight into it. I think there's a lot of people out there who are hardcore survivalists who would laugh at this, but I think at the same time trying to make a fun and approachable idea around survival is fun, you know? I mean, look at the artwork on it. It really stands out. If you're ever looking to build a wood-burning car, this is the book for you. But I dig it, man.
So this is so awesome. I'm not a survivalist, but you know, like I've always been the person that's like, I'm not gonna get a backpack if it comes down to it. I'm just gonna steal someone's backpack, you know? But like, this is so cool to see, and I mean, clearly with the backing it has, there's a lot. I
agree, man. And again, like I think a big thing for any community trying to build the community and build the vibe around it is making it approachable. And this is such an approachable way to that survivalist kind of hobby, we'll call it. I think we'll call it a hobby now until it's a necessity, and then these guys were just ahead of the curve. But at the end of the day, like, I also love how much energy and effort obviously went into this book with the artwork, with the foil on the cover. This thing is a beautiful, beautiful book. It almost has like a Fantastic Four vibe to it there. But we're looking at
How much is it?
early bird book is $49. For a hardcover book with foil on, that really isn't bad. Look at this too, and this is actually an interesting thing as well. One of their add-ons is a survival kit, a starter survival kit that you could pick up, you know, playing cards. Look at that, inadvertently stumbled across a campaign with playing cards as well, with survival tips on them. Dude. I bet you that by itself would crush as well.
Dude, that by itself...
That would. Bro, who knows? Maybe we'll have to reach out to him and be like, listen, second campaign, another deck of survival cards. Yeah.
We're going to collaborate.
This would be a fun one. Who's doing this campaign again? We'll, let's see here. We'll hit him up. The 4, if you see this, reach out to us about a collab on a deck of cards, because this would be an absolutely dope deck of cards for sure. I love the fact that they're doing it here, but I think they're probably 100%. Just touching on the surface of what they could do with a deck of cards on this thing.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Fun campaign here, really well put together. And again, here's that visual aspect of the add-ons. It makes it so much more appealing to be able to see what you're gonna get versus reading about it. People don't like to read in this day and age, which is an absolute shame, but at the same time, a healthy combination of images and reading, or even images in a sentence or two, goes a long way. Yeah.
And I love how they put the prices in there. It kind of bugs me when I see add-ons and there's no prices next to it, meaning I have to literally back a tier and then look after I back the tier how much the add-on is.
Absolutely.
It's like, I want to know that.
Absolutely agreed. And obviously being a playing card having playing cards in this campaign, I'd love to know who's printing them. But I do like the fact that they have the timeline here again with the stretch goals. They have a nice imagery around it. Really well put together campaign on this one. Great job. And again, 4,100 backers, $474,000, absolutely killing it. So, and coming in for Steve's first fun campaign this week, we have the CHAKRAM, the electric height adjustable desk with 15 features. I gotta say, Steve, this always makes me laugh for you because I feel like you're just in your mind always building the perfect office.
Bro, I have the perfect office. I literally have a sit-stand desk right now, but when I moved here, my friend who owns a moving company, his moving company dropped a box on top of my desk and broke the motor, and it doesn't work. So I can't utilize my sit-stand desk. So I look at something like this and I'm like, oh, that's so nice. It actually works.
Dude, this remote thing for this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you're in a jet engine or like a jet airplane.
You twist it, it makes the desk go up or down, and you can move it around. That is awesome.
Move it. Yeah. It's so dope. And it's priced amazingly. It's like $350, which is awesome for like a big desk, you know, a computer desk that's built well, get in different colors, but it has many different features. You know, you have obviously your controller that you can move around. It has the pop-up station for your wireless charging and stuff like that. It has a drawer that's fingertip
really cool
controlled. I mean, it's just dope, and it's big, which is key for me. You know, obviously having a 43-inch monitor and all of my stuff for streaming. So
and I think one of the big parts for this too, look at this, the collision detection. If you're accidentally moving it down on something else, it realizes, oh, I should stop because I don't want to break what's under me or burn out the motor.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're not going to have too much stuff under there. The thing that probably is going to be under there is your chair, you know, but knowing that it's going to stop is definitely good. It's funny because mine's broken. Mine doesn't go down, but I need it at a certain height, so I have kind of like a little stopper in there that keeps it at the height that I need.
This is an awesome looking desk, I gotta say. This might be one of my favorite campaigns that you've done so far. If I needed a desk, I'd be jumping on this thing.
Nice. Yeah, this thing's dope. I mean, a lot of people might not see the importance of a sit-stand desk, but dude, I'm telling you, if you're sitting at your desk all day, this thing is key. Standing up for 30 minutes in between, 3-4 hour sessions.
Look at that, $377 for the early bird on a black walnut carbon fiber desk. That looks gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. I'm not a carbon fiber fan, but good. I'd go with that.
That's definitely my favorite colorway, yeah.
Really sharp.
Good luck.
Yeah.
And for another fun campaign this week, we have the WOOBLOCK-Wooden Mechanical Transmission Splicing Globe. Steve, I'm going to ask from the jump here because it looks like it would, but does this have a light in it?
It doesn't, but it should. Actually, I think it might. Actually, it might. I don't know. It's not a light that emulates light for your room, but it might have just like LEDs in the back so you can see the different countries
and a free
and
light
stuff
strip.
like that. There you go. So you can throw a light strip in there, I believe, but ultimately it doesn't light up. But it should, because it would be super dope if it was spinning and you could see the different, countries and stuff like on your wall or something.
I think this fits a lot of your criteria for fun stuff too, because it's a unique gadget, but it's a puzzle.
Yep. 100%. And you know what? I can bet right now that we're going to see this at Oculus.
I could see something like this.
For sure.
I see some lights on the bottom there. I see some lights.
Yeah, I don't know if those are real lights or it's just something that's, in the image itself.
I love it, dude. I love it.
How cool is that?
I think that's
right
just
there,
visual aspects to it. This thing is really cool though, man. Look at that.
Dude, it's $70
and it
bucks
has
too, which
little
is
spots
not
for
bad.
pins so you can mark the places you've been. This is really,
dope,
really cool.
Right? Bro, I think I bought you on two
so here's my
in 1
thing.
week.
I don't know if I would back this. And the reason being...
Bro, this has little draws. It has little draws. You can put your little 3D things
the
in.
usability of this is null. This is 100% just a space taker for fun. And while I dig it, and clearly you can see behind, I like taking up space. Space is at a premium right now, and I don't know if I could fit this thing in right now, but it is cool.
But dude, look, it has little nugget. It has little nugget draws. you can, you know what you could use it for? You can use it for like a pill dispenser for like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Well, thankfully, I don't need a pill dispenser, but this would be surely one way to go about that. This is unique now. This is definitely cool.
I like how they have one add-on and it's the light
They kept it simple. Can't go wrong with that. When your product is this awesome from the jump, what else do you need?
Dude, I think I'm gonna back this.
$69 for the motorless version, and then, dude, that's not bad. You get the basic model or terracotta army model with the motor, I'm guessing. Yeah, one electric motor for $79. That's a steal. Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Curious what the models are, though. I do notice they mentioned multiple models there. Oh, it's the base and the styling. Yeah.
It's the bottom of it, yeah. Now, I'm curious, how long, roughly, does this take to put together? Does it say? It's 181 pieces, right? Or 81 pieces. Oh, well, there you go, 707. It's
going to take you a while. That's for sure.
Yeah, I have that Art of Play 2 deck puzzle, that wooden puzzle, which is similar to this. And it took about 2 hours, I think.
I'm sure this thing would take you several hours at least, maybe half a day.
Oh, who knows, maybe, but...
That's a lot of parts there. 707 to get into a globe and all these moving aspects to it. It'd take you a while.
Yeah, but then if you go down, it says 81 pieces.
I think the 81 pieces is only the...
discrepancy is.
81 pieces of continental puzzle. So actually putting together... Well, and it's only the actual countries on the globe, not the blue back piece. Yeah. So...
Crazy. It would take a while. That would definitely
this is cool.
Be fun for sure.
Anyone's looking for a last-minute Christmas gift, this may be it.
Probably won't have it by Christmas.
Listen,
so
the go-to is you print out a picture and you put it in the box and you wrap it and you put some golf balls or something in there so it weighs a little bit and it shakes so they don't know what they're getting. And then they get golf balls out of it and a cool globe. So... Problem solved.
Sure.
Good luck. Dude, I gotta say, some really fun campaigns this week. Some really interesting, fun campaigns. Some really interesting decks out there. As always, we love to hear what everyone out there is planning on backing, whether it be playing card related, globe related, standing desk related, or anything under the sun. If you find something cool on Kickstarter, drop us a comment down below. Let us know what you're planning on backing, and let us know what you're excited to be getting from Kickstarter in the coming weeks, because getting close to the holidays, a lot of things are going to be fulfilling. Dude, it was a fun week, as always. Everyone out there, also make sure to check out the community post this week. There's a lot of fun lives going on this week. We have our 24-hour extravaganza coming up. You are not going to want to miss that this weekend. Everyone out there, make sure to like, share, and subscribe.
Peace out.